Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have the president of Salad Spot, Mark Thatcher, and the CMO of Salad Spot, Tyler Dixon. Guys, how are you today?
Really good.
So good. Thank you for having us.
We're excited to be here with you, Frank.
Awesome. Glad to have you guys on. All right. So, Mark, let's start with you as the president of the company. I want to hear about Salad Spot. How'd this thing get started?
Yeah. So Salad Spot, really cool idea. We saw a space in the industry that was not being served very well. There's so many fast food restaurants that serve the typical fast food fare, right? And not very many of them do something that's fast and makes you feel good and is affordable. It's mostly stuff that kind of feels heavy. And so we saw an opportunity there and started working on this a couple of years ago to make sure that we had the processes all dialed in and that we were happy with the recipes and all that stuff. And we're just really thrilled with the result. We've got a restaurant that provides food that is exactly that. It's fast, it's affordable, and it's healthy, and our customers love it.
Awesome. So tell me how this thing actually got started, because I understand we're just getting started with franchising the business now. Tell me how the concept started originally.
The concept really started with some of the founders' wives recognizing that, hey, I want to go get something. I need it to be fast. I've got my kids with me, so I don't want to haul them into a place, but I don't want to feel awful after I eat it. So really, some of this idea came from our wives, them telling us, hey, this needs to exist and it doesn't right now. And I don't know, maybe more business ideas start from wives than not. Who knows, right? So.
Absolutely. Smart guys right there. Listen to the wives. What about the franchise journey itself? So we're new to starting our first franchise. We've got our company on location in Utah. What made you guys decide that franchising was the right way to expand the business?
We actually believed that franchising was going to be key to this from the very beginning. When we started thinking about what this could potentially be, our vision was that the whole nation needs this. The whole nation needs a fast, affordable, healthy option for fast food, and that people would respond. That people are recognizing now that we need better options that fit that range. That you don't have to go pay $30 for an entree. You can get something that's as cheap as any of the fast food places, but it feels really high quality. It is really high quality, and you're happy after you eat it. You don't feel loaded down after you eat this. And so when we looked at the potential for this, we thought this needs to go everywhere, and we believed that it would go everywhere. And I would say the response we've seen as people have discovered this shows that that's likely to be the case. We expect that this is going to go really big across the nations. We're seeing a really fun response from franchisees and a lot of excitement and energy for it.
So all of our meetings from the very beginning have been around how do we build this in a way that's going to be franchise friendly. We wanted to make sure that it was built to be that. It was never meant to be a single location restaurant.
Okay. All right. So give me a little backstory. How about you guys? What were you guys doing before this, and how'd you guys get together to do this?
Yeah, so my background is direct-to-consumer marketing. Mark and I actually worked together in a previous life at a previous company, and that's how he and I met originally. But I come from kind of the direct-to-consumer marketing world, and I've been there for probably close to 15 years now. So nothing ever with food necessarily, but with marketing and some branding, and that's what I bring to the table really with this company.
Tyler's big time. He's managed.
He's
so
too kind.
To put it in perspective, I know there's bigger companies out there, but Tyler's managed well over $1 billion in advertising. He's worked on major household name brands and built those brands, made them much bigger and increased awareness and all those things. So he has incredible skills there. Also has run his own agency. He's a pretty capable guy. So
what Mark's not telling you is that we did that together.
No, and then we worked together about 10 years ago, and we're both involved in direct consumer from a fitness standpoint, a company that was focused on fitness equipment. And then I left about 5 or 6 years ago. I left to a home furnishing brand and worked for one of the largest importers of mattresses and furniture, and worked with everybody, major business with Amazon and Walmart and about every major retailer in the nation for home furnishings, and was over sales and marketing for that company and on the executive team, and then when this thing was getting going, we both had mutual contacts with some of the original ideators of this brand, and they had both approached us and asked Tyler to lead marketing, and reached out to me about a year ago and said, "Hey, would you be willing to run this business?" And knowing the caliber of individuals and that we already loved being together and had every time we were around each other, we just get more excited about what we can create. It was a no-brainer to join this and put all the passion we've got behind it. So
Well said.
Wow. And now, so we're heading into franchising. To be a franchisor, which franchising is nothing like any other industry. It's obviously, we have one goal, and that's, of course, to make our franchisees successful. We want to, hopefully they feel fulfilled and are passionate about the brand.
Absolutely.
As you guys kind of are diving into franchising now, what do you guys kind of foresee for the coming year as you guys are launching this?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll take that one. So for the coming year, we think we'll have some franchise locations open before the end of 2025. And we've got some franchisees who we have great alignment with. I think that's an important thing as we look at franchising is you want to have both the franchisor and the franchisee aligned on the vision and understanding each other and good cohesion there. And we feel like we've got that with a good handful of franchisees, and we're excited to support them and see what we can create. We're excited to see them have a great business opportunity and see what it can do for them and for their families and for their customers. So we believe that we've got a good thing going with franchisees and that we're finding the right people. And of course, we're excited about this with this show, Frank, is to find additional like-minded franchisees who would be interested in this brand.
Absolutely. Okay, so Tyler, I'm going to ask you,
Sure.
Who do you think is a right fit for this brand? Like, I know we're at the early stages, but I would imagine from both of you all experience in business that you kind of identified who's the right person to be a franchisee, and what do you think the traits they need to be successful to run a great salad spot?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this as an ownership and leadership group, and really the right person is going to have some business sense. They need to be a good business person and have good instincts that way. But we also would love to have someone who also is passionate about what they're serving and passionate about the well-being of others and crafting an experience in their stores that is exceptional. We want them to be involved. We don't want to just have them be passive investors that have no involvement in the store. We want them to be crafting this experience with their employees on a regular basis and care about what that experience is.
Okay, let me hear something that's different about your business than the other. Well, first of all, you're a drive-through only, I understand, but in terms of the menus, is something that's special about what you guys do?
Actually, yeah, I think the menu is really special. We have 6 permanent salads and wraps. We make salads and wraps, and there are 6 that are on the menu all the time. Every month we rotate in a monthly special, and that has been so fun. It's been so fun from a marketing perspective. Tyler does a phenomenal job getting the word out about what the new salad is, and the new wrap, and it makes for a very simple process. It's not overly complex. Now, when you see the salad, you'd think, man, how are they doing this? It's delicious, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, but it's a very simplified process because the menu is simple, and the process for producing the food is designed and very well thought out to be very quick and efficient so that a franchisee can get up and running quickly and be very good at producing very consistent quality. And so that's been really fun.
Mark, I want to speak to the flavor of the month. This has been a really cool thing that we've decided to do from the very beginning as well. Partly because we wanted to just try different kinds of salads with the possibility of maybe adopting some of them permanently. But we found that they become our best sellers very quickly to the point where we have customers that get a little upset with us when the month is over because their favorite salad is gone and they have to wait. They have to wait for it maybe to come back or maybe never. We love the energy that it produces, the excitement. We get people that when we announce a new salad, we get people coming to the store to try the new salad. It really just has been a phenomenal thing that we've implemented in our business.
It also gives us a lot of opportunities to keep a lot of social buzz. You know, if you look at our social media feed, we don't look like a business with one location. In fact, we get asked all the time, every one of our suppliers, I've had dozens of people say, so where did this start? Where did this idea come from? And we say, well, this is the first one. And people say, no, the first one for you, right? This is the first one for you. And we say,
wow.
no, this is the first salad spot. And a lot of people are just amazed at the thought and detail that's gone into the branding, into the menu, into the food we provide, because it feels
Established.
It feels established.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a compliment, right? For people to think that you've got so many locations and
Yep.
is this your first location,
Yeah.
right?
We had somebody at a soccer game the other day whose kid was talking to one of the other owners and said, I know where Salad Spot started in some other state. Like, no, this is the first one. First one. And the dad kind of got into it like, no, really? Did it really start here? Yeah, it's been fun because people as to Tyler's point, it looks established.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. There's something also unique about your business that I'd love for you guys to talk to the audience about, and that's the modular building.
Yes.
Tell me about the build out. That's something that is very different about your business than other franchises.
Yeah, the building is part of the secret sauce to this operation. So it's designed, again, everything thought through with efficiency and process and flows and how we move customers through to make sure that they get their food extremely quickly and that they get a consistent experience. The building is also part of the genius behind the building is that we can build it less expensively than a ground up stick build. You know, we can save some money and have every bit the same quality or higher quality with the building. And because the startup costs are lower, it allows our prices to be lower as well and be competitive. So that's part of our secret sauce and something we're really excited about. We also deliver the building for franchisees with all of the equipment inside, which is pretty slick. So you get the exact same equipment, very good consistency that way, and it takes a lot of headache off of franchisees to know that they're going to get a building that has everything in it that they need.
And one more thing about the building as well is that time to open shrinks a lot too. The time for us to prepare and to build this building and deliver it is less than it takes to build a traditional building. And so the simplicity of it and the cost of it and the time it saves is just all benefits to our franchisees.
Part of the reason for that speed is that we can be prepping the ground and the landscaping at the same time the building is being produced. And then it goes from all the groundwork to it looking like a finished product. What customers see is groundwork being done, and then the next day there's a building that's finished.
It gets delivered and installed.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Where is the ideal place for you to place one of these buildings, location-wise?
Yeah, so we're looking at multiple options there. So we think there's great options in just corners of parking lots by grocery stores, for example, would be a phenomenal place. But we're also looking in a variety of shopping centers would be pretty ideal. There are other things that we'd like to explore, like, you know, how would it work around a fitness hub, outside of a gym. But to start, we're looking mostly around major shopping centers that have grocery and a lot of traffic going through.
That there are places that we want to be, or that franchises may want to be, franchisees, that maybe doesn't have an open piece of land available. And so we are open to strip mall end caps with drive-through capability, things like that in certain circumstances. But the ideal situation would be our modular building in the corner of a grocery store or something similar.
I had a fun meeting just yesterday, Frank, with a large real estate group. They're not massive, but they have $5.5 billion of real estate that they own. And we told them what we were looking for in the concept and the size of parcel. You know, oftentimes in commercial real estate, you need a full acre that's what a lot of places want to sell you or lease you. We need a quarter or a third. And this group just said, this is exactly what we need in so many locations. We're willing to parcel off the properties for you. We're willing to give you the size that you need because the community is asking us for this. That's really exciting. It's exciting to see that even real estate groups are saying, yep, this is the next thing we need in our developments.
Yeah. You know, the other thing I'm hearing that I hope emerging founders that are watching or listening to this podcast can glean from our conversation is that what I'm hearing is that you're really in the simplicity business.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
From the menu being simple to the build out being simple to the drive-through exclusivity, everything is about speed, clean, quick. And you're doing this, everything with your brand is all consistent from build out to how everything's being served. And that's a great lesson for entrepreneurs because wouldn't you guys agree that sometimes we get caught up in the complexity and we want to be everything to everybody?
Yeah.
And when we want to be everything to everybody, we don't serve anyone.
Right.
Tyler, from a marketing perspective, how do you convey that also to the customers in your brand messaging?
Yeah, what I like about this is that because we're not everything to everyone, we can focus on specific messaging. We can focus on really three main pillars: fresh, fast, and affordable. And really, because we have simplicity in our messaging, it resonates. It's not something where someone has to understand a complex messaging campaign. It is very simple, and they get it. They get it from the first time they see an ad to the first time they go through our drive-through. They understand what we're all about. And in the beginning, before we had a location open, we had others telling us, you know, you need to do this, or you need to do that, or you need to offer this, or it needs to be like this. And we had a lot of discussion about who are we exactly, and what do we actually believe in, and what is our identity. And I'm so glad that you're picking up on that, because simplicity is absolutely part of our core establishment, our core beliefs, and we'll keep it that way as well. And when and if we do roll out new items, new offerings, they're very well thought out, and they stick to that same core simplicity mindset.
Yeah. And Mark, let me ask you, when it comes to training, if you could kind of elaborate on it, because I assume the simplicity model is all the way through to training and support to make things super simple for our franchise owners.
Well, we think it's one of the key things that will make Salad Spot very scalable for franchisees, that they can come in and they can learn the model very quickly. While I think it'd be hard for somebody to just see our building and be able to copy us, when we train our franchisees, it'll be very fast for them to see this is very doable. They can bring people on board to manage a location for them. They can train them quickly. They'll get the concept. Our employees become expert salad makers very, very quickly. They do a great job. And we've even thought through, each food that we prepare to go into the food, of course, it has to be fresh. It has to be just fantastic quality. In the salad business, if your lettuce isn't fresh, you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
But we've thought through all of these processes, and we continue to refine every little thing we can to give a little bit better product and to make it a little more simple and a little faster to get it to our customers. And we've seen great results. Every month we make really, really fine refinements to the business that have been fun to see the results of. And so from a training perspective, we're very confident that our franchisees will get up to speed fast. Our operating manual has what's needed in there for people to get up to speed. And we're so passionate about it, we can hardly stop talking about what it is and why it's so cool. Yeah. So I think our franchisees definitely feel the contagious bug of excitement that we have.
And I think franchises can sometimes be intimidating, and we don't want that to be the case here. We want this to be simple. Not just appear simple, but actually to be simple. I mean, and grasp things quickly and be able to have confidence in running their businesses right out of the gate.
Yeah, and a lot of times you will find that franchisees, this is the first time they've ever owned their own business.
Yeah.
I know when I got involved in franchising, maybe I didn't have the right expectations, but I just assumed, one, people were going to be like me. That's not always true, right? And then the second thing is I expected I had just a false expectation that people had some business sense and maybe past history of running a business. And it turns out by far the majority of my franchise owners had never owned a business before. So I was doing more business coaching than anything else. Right. And that kind of goes back to trying to keep it simple for them. Do you guys anticipate allowing for single unit franchise operators or multi-unit franchise owners strictly? What's sort of your
We'll do both.
anticipation on?
Yeah, we'll do
You're gonna
both. Our first agreement looks like it'll be an area agreement with multiple units, but we have others who are looking at single unit franchise opportunities, and we're open to both. We think both have a place in what we're doing.
And what about what's the investment range to open a location?
Yeah, it's about 600 to 850 to open a location.
And there are some variables in there.
Yeah,
but that's the range.
Yeah, there's some variables that would have some. That contemplates some money to operate over time, not just
Working capital.
for working capital and supplies for the first 6 or 7 months, that sort of thing.
Okay. And how big is one of the module units?
Yeah, they're not very big. So our building in Logan is about 640 square feet, and we have additional models in play that will go up to about 850 square feet for areas that have much higher traffic than Logan has. Logan's not a big restaurant town. We're opening our next ones in much bigger restaurant towns, and we're going to need a couple hundred more square feet because the traffic will be higher.
Sure. And do you guys anticipate decide on how closely you'll put locations to one another? How big is the territory?
Yep, great question. We're protecting populations of 100,000 people. So the general territory size will be populations of 100,000 people.
All right, cool. What's been your biggest surprise since you've embarked on this whole franchising thing?
Man.
There's been a few, yeah. So I think one of the things that surprised me, I guess a couple of things. We had a very good opening day response. And maybe it wasn't a surprise, it was a pleasant surprise, right? It was, what's it going to be like? How many people are going to show up? And we had a line through the drive-through, through the parking lot, out onto Main Street, and then through an intersection to go through our drive-through on our opening day. We even had the police show up and ask us, "Hey, what's going on here? What are you doing?" And we just let them know, "Hey, we're opening our restaurant. Today's the opening day. You're welcome to go through if you'd like."
We had so many people lined up hours before we opened that we actually opened an hour earlier than we announced that we'd be open to try to relieve traffic from Main Street because it was just way down the street, and we had everybody in there trying to keep up with the demand. It was a lot of fun.
So that was a pleasant surprise. As the marketing person responsible for making sure people come through the drive-through, that was a nice surprise.
That's awesome. Mark, what about you? What's been a big surprise for you since you got involved in franchising?
One of the cool things for me has been working with people in the business and seeing what can be done with training employees and saying, "Hey, I know this is your first job or one of your first jobs, but if you know how to take care of a customer, even when it's stressful, if you can be kind, even when the demand is high and there's a long line of people wanting to get through, what that does for your future career." I get excited about that kind of thing. And it's been so fun to read the Google reviews come through and see how many customers say, "These are the nicest employees," or people come up to me when I'm at my kids' ball games and they say, "Where do you get your employees? They are the nicest fast food employees I've ever met." And I think that's exciting to see that can be done, that can be accomplished. And I think that sets up both our company as well as our employees for future success, whether they stay with Salad Spot, and we hope some of them do. We hope some of them grow right with our company and step in and help us take those skills into taking care of our franchisees. But it also translates into just creating a great brand and a great future for those employees who can take those skills on to their next career.
That's amazing. What do you guys think that has really set you apart to create that culture in a business or an industry where people are complaining about their food service employees all the time?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing that's changed that whole perception for your own business?
Yeah, that's a great thought. I think part of that is making sure people know what our mission is, that we really want to delight our customers. We want to give them something. You've heard us say it a lot of times: fast, healthy, and fresh. And we want them to have a positive experience when they come through the drive-thru. And we praise them every time we notice them being kind, especially when it's stressful, especially when it's a lunch rush and people need to get through the line fast. We praise them for keeping cars moving quickly and being nice and being kind. And we have customers who come through every single day. We have customers who come back, and some of them are driving 30 miles to come eat at Salad Spot, and they come every day. And they talk about how it's their grocery store, it's their favorite place to come, it's the only place they eat now, and they love how they feel. and they love the employees. It's really been fun to see and make some relationships that way and see where this thing's going.
We have one that comes through just for the drinks.
Yeah.
Right?
How have you guys made it so affordable? I think what was it, like $8.99 for a full salad?
$8.99 for a salad or a wrap.
Yeah.
Our monthly special, we go up to $9.99 for our monthly salad. There is a lot of thought put into that. I mean, you are doing all of the detail. You've seen how much work has to go into making sure a business is run very effectively. Every single salad is worked on for weeks and months to make sure that we have something that customers will be delighted in and that also can be profitable for the company. And by extension, profitable for our franchisees, because we know they've got to be able to have something that they can repeat hundreds and thousands of times and have profit there every single time and have something their customers will keep coming back for. So.
And to add one more thing to that, the building actually allows us to have less expensive offerings as well. Having a less expensive building initially brings down costs and allows us to do those kinds of things. I think it gives us an advantage.
The number of times people told us this should be $12.99, this should be $14.99.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had many people tell us you could charge more for this, you could charge more for this. But part of our mission, and you've heard it a lot of times, is that we want to be affordable, we want to be fast, and we want to be fresh and healthy. And so we've put so much work in to make sure that the margin is there, that our prime costs are in line. We focus on our prime costs every single day to make sure that when our franchisees open, they've got the profit they need to have this be a great investment for them. And we've seen that we can do it. We've seen that the margin is there, the profit's there, and the quality's there. It's a good package.
And it's getting better every month.
And it's getting better every month. So
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys could be like almost like a study for a college class on business, making sure that your brand is consistent through and through. And that's where we know this, right? Tyler, from a marketing perspective, if you're not consistent, people see that.
Absolutely.
And you could be marketing from one thing, but if Mark is, and the guys in operations doing something totally different, everything's going to blow up.
Right. You might have a short-term bump from effective marketing, but it's not going to be long-term and it's not going to last. And one of the things that I've been very, very just thrilled about is seeing, Mark mentioned Google reviews. The Google reviews have been phenomenal, and you can't fake that. People give their honest opinions in there, whether you like it or not. And we recently had a little employee get together, a little barbecue, and one of the things that I made sure to let them know was, hey, I recognize how difficult it is to get a score like you're getting and how difficult that is, so thank you. But really that experience is consistent every time, and I really just I praise the leadership and those working in the building for that.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. I think you guys have done an incredible job this far, and I can't believe you're just getting started in franchising, because you guys are talking like people who've been franchisors for many years. All right, so before we make you guys a case study in college, let me ask you guys this. Every entrepreneur, we go through highs and lows, challenges, mistakes we've made. Give me a little transparency here of maybe a mistake that you guys made, or error or something where you guys had to figure it out and you guys fixed it, because nothing's ever perfect, right?
yeah, that's a good question.
Mark, maybe we talk about how we got to measuring food and how we've really honed in on measurements.
Yeah,
things like that.
So I talked just a minute ago about how we planned our recipes so carefully to make sure we had the margin. Well, we were working so closely on making sure that our food costs were in line to have our prime costs what they need to be between food and labor. And we weren't seeing our food costs get to the numbers we were anticipating and that our recipes said they should be. And so we looked at our most expensive ingredients and institute a practice of measuring those. And a lot of restaurants do, right? A lot of restaurants make sure that they're serving the right portion. And we got so excited about this when we noticed that we'd been creeping up a little bit on a couple of ingredients. We put out samples of how people were making them, like blind studies of saying, all right, make your salad the way you normally would. Make another one. All these salads that we were testing. And then we said, okay, now make it like the recipe says to make it. And tell a difference. Like visually, you can't tell a difference, but the cost was there. right? And just managing, being that level of detail. And we've not heard one comment from a customer but praise for how good the food is. Like, no one has noticed a thing about us being very careful about making sure it's exactly to the recipe, because the recipe was thought out months ahead of time and planned and practiced and visualized and photographed. But going right back to that core recipe and making sure we're following our practices and processes has brought our prime costs, just made them look beautiful. Financials are looking good, and it's been a lot of fun to solve that.
Yeah.
That was a challenge.
It was a challenge, yeah. It was, and I think it's easy for those costs to drift if you're not paying it, if you're not carefully watching those things. And so, having processes and systems in place to make sure that things are staying within the proper thresholds consistently is important.
Yeah. What about in terms of industry trends and kind of staying ahead of the competition? What do you guys do to, as you're looking at the industry, to making sure that you're in alignment with what the current customer wants, customers' needs, right? Taste change.
I'm going to brag on Tyler for just a second here. When I look at how we launched our business, we're not the only place in Utah that sells salads. But there was so much thought put into our branding, how the building looks, the experience the customer gets. All of that adds to branding. And if you're going to be successful as a franchise, you've got to have a brand that actually matters, that people recognize, they resonate with it, it means something to them. I just think Tyler's done such a remarkable job with that. And I think that will help us stand up from the competition. When it comes down to it, if your food isn't good, you're not going to win, right? And if the price isn't right, and we've got all those things, we've got this beautiful brand that we care about and we nurture and we message well to our customers, we protect it, and we are looking for the right ways to build that awareness. We also believe our franchisees will help with that, because we're finding franchisees who are aligned with our brand, and they'll help carry that forward too. You've got to have franchisees who resonate with your brands as well and feel passionate about it. And we think we're finding those people. That's who we're looking for.
And what about for future franchisee expansion? Are there particular markets that you're excited to get started in? Obviously, you guys are in Utah. Are you looking to expand beyond there, stay on the West Coast, or what's the thought on strategy?
Yeah, we're looking to expand way beyond Utah. We want to be across the nation. In fact, I'd say in 10 years, we want to be in every state. But we are starting our fastest growth in the short term will be Utah. We'll cover Utah pretty quickly, and you'll see locations across Utah very quickly.
Yeah.
We've also got good, strong interest in Idaho. We're moving into Idaho quickly. We have interest in Montana. But I think last count, I've had outreach from about 25 states already who found our brand from our social media, or we had one guy that's looking at doing multiple units who found us because of he's a construction executive and found our building, but very aligned with what we're doing. There's been cool things that have happened with brand awareness that have brought people to us, and we're getting a lot of buzz, a lot of interest. So,
wow, where do you think you guys are going to be in the next 5 years? What's the goal?
We were talking about that
today.
We were talking about that today. Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Can I go out to 10 years? I think in 10 years, if we can go to plan, I think we'll have the interest to have 1,000 locations in 10 years. That's aggressive, of course, but we have a lot of mentors in the space. We have mentors who are executives of franchises that have over 1,000 locations, and they believe we're in line to be able to do that, which is exciting. It's fun to have mentors who not only can see the vision, but can help coach us to be better. And then I'd say the other part of that vision is not just having that many locations, but building a brand that benefits our franchisees. We want something because every franchisee gets into this business because they want to do something for their family and their loved ones, and they also want to do something, they want it to be a business that they're passionate about. And we think this has all of that for the right people, they're going to be passionate about providing something that's healthy for their customers, that they can delight every time a customer goes through, they're pleased and they feel good about it, and that it also can build wealth for their families. So
we do anticipate having more, a few more corporate-owned locations, but really the large majority of the growth that we anticipate will be from franchisees. And so we're counting on finding those right people to come and to do this with us.
Yeah, well, that's key also, is deciding, Who are you? What are you? Are you a company-owned location kind of business or franchise? I think making that strategic decision is really important early on.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, if someone was interested in learning more and opening a salad spot, where would they go?
Yeah, so you can find us on our website at saladspot.com. Right in the footer, there's a link for franchising. They can also email me directly. My email is mark@saladspot.com, and I respond to all those emails, and I get a lot of them. A lot of people reach out about franchising opportunities. So I'd love to meet whoever would like to reach out.
Fantastic. I got one last question for both of you guys. So if you had friends that came up to you and said, hey, I was looking to open a franchise of another brand, what would be a piece of advice you'd give them to making sure they're making a really good decision? What should they be looking out for before they buy a franchise?
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, I'll take the first crack of that. So my advice would be to find a product that you love serving, something that you're confident in, that you are proud to serve to your family and friends. I really feel like that's a very important piece of this. If you love what you serve, you will find success.
Great. Mark, what do you think?
I would add to that to be excited about business. Business is such a great opportunity, and it's a huge blessing for society to have great businesses that provide great product. And of course, there's opportunities to solve things every day in business, and not to be afraid to take on whatever comes your way and solve it. There's always a solution, right? There's always something that can be figured out, and that's part of the fun of business. But I'd also say to be excited about taking on the opportunity to run your own business, because it does so much good. It does so much good for your employees, does so much good for the community if you're selling a great product, and can do so much good for your family.
Awesome. Guys, that's great advice. Thank you so much for being on the show. I feel honored to be able to feature the Salad Spot here in the beginning of what I think is going to be just an incredible ride. So thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you giving us the chance, Frank.
Thank you.
We've watched your podcast and have been so impressed by what you do in mentoring franchisees, and know that you have your own mission that you're pursuing, and it's just awesome to see what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.